Tell me about the role of your wife and the role of Christ throughout this time period.
Which one you want to do first?
Let's go wife first.
Wife. Okay, well,
because this sounds stressful.
You know,
I'm not part of. I wasn't part of all this journey, and I'm like, man, this sounds stressful.
Yeah, you met my wife, and we've hung out a little bit. I mean, she's so even keel and chill about everything. I think for us, we knew we had specific values, and we wanted her to be home when we had kids.
Okay,
and we were able to accomplish that. I think outside of that, something in her was confident enough in what I had already delivered. She wasn't blindly confident in my abilities to provide. No, like, you said you were going to do this, you did it. You said you were going to get us out of debt. We got out of debt. You said you were going to go make this much money off music. You did it. So there was like a confidence I had built up. So my wife just kind of kept like, she's not like, she's not like rah, 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 go do it. She's not like that. She's just more like, okay, like, if this is what you want to do, like, cool, like, let's do it, right? And so when I was working at my church, I could sense that they didn't like me being gone as much, because as a musician, you're traveling, you're doing shows. We would go do like a little 5-day run of shows. We'd go do this little run. So I remember March of 2015, we're at South by Southwest in Austin. And we rented we couldn't afford a tour bus. So we rent we'd go like find like a RV rental place and rent like a RV, and like that would be our tour bus for the week or whatever, right? Just so everyone could sleep on the bus. We could save money on hotel, or sleep on the RV, save money for the hotel. So that's the kind of stuff. So I remember driving back in this RV. We stopped in New Mexico. So we're just like halfway back from Austin, stop in New Mexico. And I just got the sense that it wasn't going well at work. Like, they couldn't have me do, because I'm thinking like, I'm starting to make money off of music. I'm gonna milk this entrepreneur thing as much as I can at my church, right? My heart wasn't in the right place, because I really wanted to do music, but I was scared to quit and fully transition. And so I remember calling her like, hey, like, I don't think it's gonna go well. Like, there had been a lot of transition. And so I told her, I said, I think when we come back, we should pray about me putting in my 2-week notice.
Okay.
And I remember this so vividly. I'm standing there. The guys were out front. They went and got ponchos, and they're like taking pictures. And I'm like at this like diner on the phone with her, and I'm watching them take pictures. And she goes, I don't think there's anything we need to pray about. I think you need to come home and put in your 2-week notice. And I go, whoa, like, here's my stay-at-home mom wife with, my son wasn't 1 yet. And she says, I don't think there's anything we need to pray about. I think you need to come and put in your 2-week notice. So at that moment in time, she had enough faith for both of us. She had enough courage for both of us. And so the role of faith in all of this is her seeing what God had already done and believing that he was going to continue doing, as long as we remain faithful to the process of, hey, we're going to really build a business. So it can't just be artsy-fartsy, chasing butterflies, doing dumb stuff. Like, we actually have to have products to sell, and we have to have a plan. And so, yeah, man. So like within that window, I came home, I put in my 2-week notice. They kept me for 2 months, which was like very frustrating. They're like, no, we're going to go after Easter. And I'm like, all right, Easter's like the Super Bowl. If you ever worked at a church, Easter's like the Super Bowl. So I put in that, and then, yeah, man. And so then it just became like a matter of like, if I'm doing the things that I'm generally good at, and I'm doing it because I generally want to help people, and there's a need for it in the marketplace, well, God's in that. God can bless that, right? Because people get real weird about passion, right? Because you can be like, follow your passion, but like, if you suck at your passion, don't follow your passion, right? So for me, like, I was generally good, and I was also, again, I'm going from solopreneur to entrepreneur in an organization. So now I'm really becoming like a creative entrepreneur. I'm running a business. I have a team. I'm doing stuff. And so fast forward, like within a year of me quitting my job, man, we ended up, my boutique label ends up doing a deal with Interscope.
Okay.
We did if you go to my Spotify, one of my biggest records is I Got the Juice. We recorded I Got the Juice on the same console that Kendrick did To Pimp a Butterfly on. This is around the same time that Dre did The Chronic on. Like, we were at Interscope in the same rooms with the same engineers, the same guy that is playing guitar. His name's Matt on King Kunta, Kendrick's album. Is the same guy that engineered some of our biggest songs.
Dope.
So within a year time, like we just got this like boom jolt, and Interscope is involved, and now like we're getting doors opening, and it was really cool to see it all. Now the flip side to all of that is when you're doing business in that industry and you're trying to remain a person of faith. That could be very difficult.
Tell me more about that.
Well, from a label standpoint, and people may be shocked to believe this, but the labels are primarily driven by capitalism, which is not a bad thing.
Sure.
If Christian stuff sells, sure, come on. Like we'll platform you. Like we got Kendrick and we got, these guys over here, and the main artist that got the deal went through with my label King's Dream, but it was for my artist John Gibbs, and then 3 of us were a collective called the Dream Junkies.
Okay.
So the Dream Junkies stuff was like really starting to pop off. We're on Carson Daly, and they were like, yeah, like if you guys can get John to pop, like the world's your oyster, basically, because this is, Kendrick got in, and they kept modeling us after TDE, which I don't know how much of that was smoke and how much of that they were serious about, but they were strictly, hey, whatever is selling and whatever is working, we're down for it. So if this Christian stuff is working, we don't care.
Sure.
Right? Same thing when we did some records with Atlantic and hung out with them. And I'm still friendly with Jeff Vaughn over there. I think he's moved on from Atlantic. Joey IE, who was over there at Interscope. They weren't concerned about like don't talk about Jesus. They're like, whatever you're doing that's working, we just want to throw a flame on that.
Got it.
The flip side to that is when you are hyper creative, when you are someone that has gone through stuff, which a lot of rappers unfortunately have, like we're coming from areas that probably didn't have fathers in the mix, or coming from areas where we witnessed stuff that maybe caused PTSD, or we're not emotionally mature enough, and you have that with immense access to money and an industry that doesn't really care about you from a soul standpoint, a lot of things can come apart. And that's basically what happened. Like unfortunately, our dynamic just wouldn't sustain itself. So I left that situation because I was like, hey, I'm not going to be the Christian guy that got to this point only to have like the thing that we're doing all of a sudden be compromised.
Okay.
And
so there were pressures coming towards you to make certain compromises in your values or faith, or
not. How do I explain this? Not towards me.
Okay.
My artist would be put in situations that weren't the most optimal for him.
Okay.
Then there would be conversations about who's worth what and why is this person involved, and this is the label and they're the big head honchos, but it's like, but yeah, we did all this groundwork to get to this place. So it's more of those like divisive conversations. And then when the practical allure of my artist, who was much younger at the time, to drift into substances and things that I just couldn't co-sign, there was no real like urgency to there's no real urgency to like, hey, let's get this dude back in church. And like, it was like, no. So at that point I checked out and I was like, I'm good. Like, you go on, you do your thing. This isn't working for me. This is clearly, our relationship isn't working for you. And that was hard because imagine you're getting to getting in the rooms, right? Like you're in those same environments, and now it's like, well, boom, you got to start all over again. And that's what happened. The 2017, like I had to start all over again.